Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. Imagine standing at the edge of adulthood, staring into a future filled with possibilities and pressures you're only beginning to grasp. As a young man, you know that life isn't going to be handed to you. There are challenges ahead, battles you must face, decisions you have to make. The path you choose will shape the man you become. But here's the catch: no one gave you a roadmap. Jonathan McKee's The Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face is the roadmap you didn't know you needed. It's not just a book about surviving those battles, it's about thriving through them. McKee pulls no punches as he speaks directly to the hearts of young men, offering wisdom, humor, and straight talk. He knows what you're up against because he's been there, and he's ready to equip you with the tools to come out on top. In this book, McKee tackles 4 of the biggest struggles every young man will face in today's world: sexual temptation, screens and digital distraction, substances and addiction, and self-worth. These aren't just theoretical problems, they are real, daily struggles that impact your relationships, future, and sense of purpose. McKee dives into each of these areas with raw honesty, pulling from his own experiences and those of countless young men he's mentored over the years. You're probably already familiar with the pressures of these battles. Maybe you've already felt the pull of temptation, the endless distraction of social media, or the false comfort of substances. You might have even wondered why some days feel like you're fighting an invisible enemy. McKee makes it clear that you're not alone in these battles. He's here to remind you that facing these challenges is not a sign of weakness, it's a part of becoming the man you were meant to be. What sets this book apart is its practical, action-based approach. McKee doesn't just talk about the battles, he gives you strategies to win them. You'll find real, usable advice for setting boundaries with technology, avoiding the traps of addiction, and overcoming the negative messages about your worth. Each chapter is packed with tools to help you strengthen your defenses and develop the discipline you need to succeed. And because McKee understands the unique challenges young men face, he speaks your language. This isn't a lecture, it's a conversation. But this book isn't just about fighting battles, it's about discovering your true strength. McKee empowers you to see beyond the distractions and pressures of the world and step into the purpose and power that's waiting for you. He reminds you that every young man will face challenges, but it's how you respond to them that matters. Will you be the guy who avoids the fight or the guy who rises to meet it? In The Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face, you'll find the courage, clarity, and confidence to face your future head-on. You're not in this alone, and with McKee as your guide, you'll be ready to win. Introduction: The Struggles of Modern Young Men. In The Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face, Jonathan McKee provides an insightful and practical manual for young men navigating the increasingly complex terrain of modern life. The book focuses on 4 major struggles that most young men experience, offering practical guidance, biblical wisdom, and personal anecdotes to help them emerge victorious. Whether it's dealing with peer pressure, managing the influence of technology, navigating relationships, or battling personal integrity, McKee addresses these issues with humor and honesty, creating an engaging and relatable guide for today's young men. The author, Jonathan McKee, is an established voice in youth culture, with decades of experience in mentoring young people. His deep understanding of the pressures faced by young men in the digital age informs the book, making it both relevant and impactful. The aim of the book is not to shame or criticize, but rather to offer hope, direction, and encouragement. Let's dive into each battle in detail, while exploring McKee's powerful insights and how young men can tackle these issues head-on. Battle 1: The Battle with Screens, Overcoming the Digital Overload. The screen problem. One of the most pervasive challenges facing young men today is the ever-present nature of screens, whether it's smartphones, video games, social media, or streaming platforms. McKee recognizes that screens are a double-edged sword. While they offer entertainment, connection, and information, they also pose significant risks when consumed without balance. McKee paints a realistic picture of the dangers of overindulgence in screens, from wasting time to addiction, and how it negatively affects relationships, mental health, and spiritual growth. In this chapter, McKee stresses how the digital world has redefined social interaction, with many young men finding themselves disconnected from real-life friendships and face-to-face conversations. This digital obsession leads to social isolation and, paradoxically, loneliness, despite constant online connections. Understanding the impact. McKee dives deep into the psychological impacts of screen addiction. Drawing on research, he explains how the constant barrage of notifications and the addictive design of apps like Instagram or TikTok keep young men glued to their phones. The dopamine hits from likes, comments, and shares reinforce this behavior, leading to a cycle that's hard to break. In essence, screens are designed to hook users, making it crucial for young men to become aware of their screen time and make intentional choices to disconnect. Practical tips to tackle screen overload. McKee offers practical steps for young men to regain control over their screen time. 1. Set time limits. He suggests establishing specific time windows for screen usage, especially when it comes to social media and video games. 2. Use apps to monitor usage. Tools like screen time trackers can help keep tabs on how much time is spent in front of screens. 3. Engage in real-life activities. McKee encourages young men to take up physical activities, hobbies, or hang out with friends in person to reduce dependency on digital devices. 4. Detox from screens. He recommends screen-free days or weekends to help reset the brain and reconnect with the real world. By equipping young men with these tools, McKee empowers them to fight the digital battle and regain balance in their lives. Battle 2. The battle with sexual temptation, navigating a hypersexualized world. The ubiquity of temptation. Sexual temptation is one of the most challenging battles for young men, and McKee doesn't shy away from addressing it head-on. In an era where sexual content is only a click away and the normalization of casual sex is rampant, young men are constantly bombarded with unhealthy messages about sex and relationships. McKee discusses the allure of pornography, sexting, and the pressure to conform to a hypersexualized culture, and he provides a safe space for readers to acknowledge their struggles without judgment. McKee is upfront about the damage pornography can do, not just to one's relationship with others, but also to one's self-image and emotional well-being. He emphasizes that while the battle with sexual temptation is difficult, it's not insurmountable. The consequences of unchecked desire. McKee warns young men of the dangers of allowing sexual temptation to go unchecked. He explains how pornography distorts perceptions of intimacy, objectifies people, and leads to an unrealistic understanding of relationships. This can impact future romantic relationships, as it sets up unhealthy expectations and erodes trust. Additionally, McKee talks about the emotional toll that comes with living a double life, trying to hide one's consumption of sexual content while struggling with guilt and shame. He offers a compelling argument for why breaking free from the grip of sexual temptation is vital for emotional and spiritual health. Overcoming sexual temptation. McKee's approach to overcoming sexual temptation is rooted in transparency, accountability, and grace. He encourages young men to 1. Talk about it. Rather than burying feelings of shame, McKee urges young men to open up about their struggles with trusted mentors, friends, or accountability partners. 2. Set boundaries. Whether it's avoiding certain websites or limiting exposure to sexualized media, McKee advocates for setting clear boundaries to reduce temptation. 3. Seek help when needed. McKee suggests that if the struggle with pornography or sexual temptation feels overwhelming, it's essential to seek professional help or join support groups. 4. Focus on positive relationships. Building healthy, non-sexualized relationships with women can help young men gain a more balanced and respectful view of intimacy. Through honesty and a step-by-step approach, McKee helps readers see that overcoming sexual temptation is not about achieving perfection but making progress towards healthier living. Battle 3. The battle with substance abuse, staying strong in the face of peer pressure. The reality of peer pressure. Peer pressure has been a defining issue for young men throughout generations, but in today's world, the stakes are higher due to the widespread availability of substances like alcohol, drugs, and vaping products. McKee understands that young men often turn to these substances not because of curiosity or enjoyment, but because of social pressure and a desire to fit in. McKee uses examples from his work with youth and his personal life to illustrate how peer pressure can start innocuously but quickly spiral out of control. He discusses the influence of social gatherings, parties, and even casual hangouts where young men feel the need to prove themselves by engaging in risky behavior. Substance abuse and its impact. McKee doesn't just focus on the immediate effects of substance abuse, but he delves into the long-term consequences. From addiction and mental health issues to damaged relationships and loss of self-control, the impact of substance abuse can be devastating. He emphasizes that substance abuse can lead young men down a destructive path, potentially derailing their education, careers, and personal aspirations. He's clear that while it may seem harmless at first, substance abuse often escalates into a far bigger problem, which can be difficult to escape. Strategies for saying no. McKee offers practical advice for young men on how to resist the lure of substance abuse. 1. Be confident in your decisions. McKee explains that it's crucial for young men to develop a strong sense of self-confidence and self-worth so that they can resist peer pressure without feeling like they're missing out. 2. Choose friends wisely. He encourages young men to surround themselves with friends who respect their boundaries and share similar values. 3. Have a game plan. McKee suggests preparing a few go-to responses for situations where young men might be pressured to try drugs or alcohol, making it easier to say no in the moment. 4. Find positive outlets. Engaging in sports, creative activities, or volunteering can help young men find purpose and fulfillment without turning to substances. Through these strategies, McKee instills the message that it's okay to say no and that true friends will respect those choices. Ultimately, the battle against substance abuse is won by making wise decisions and standing firm in one's convictions. Battle 4. The battle with self-identity, discovering who you are. The search for identity. The final battle McKee addresses is the search for self-identity, which is perhaps the most internal yet profound struggle young men face. In a world where external validation often dictates self-worth, whether through social media likes, athletic prowess, or academic achievements, young men are left grappling with the question, who am I? McKee writes about the pressure to conform to certain images of masculinity, success, and popularity, and how these cultural expectations can leave young men feeling lost or inadequate. He reminds readers that their worth isn't defined by external achievements or how others see them, but by something deeper. The role of faith in identity. McKee ties this discussion of self-identity to faith, encouraging young men to find their identity in God rather than in the ever-changing standards of the world. He shares personal stories of his own struggles with self-worth and how his faith helped him develop a sense of purpose and belonging. McKee emphasizes that when young men ground their identity in their relationship with God, they are better able to navigate the ups and downs of life without losing sight of who they truly are. He encourages readers to reflect on their unique strengths, talents, and passions, and to see themselves as more than the sum of their achievements. Building a strong foundation. McKee provides concrete steps for young men to discover and build their identity. 1. Reflect on your values. He suggests taking time to reflect on what matters most to you and how those values align with your actions and goals. 2. Surround yourself with mentors. McKee stresses the importance of finding mentors who can offer wisdom and guidance during the journey of self-discovery. 3. Embrace imperfection. He reminds young men that perfection isn't the goal, growth and authenticity are. Learning to accept and love oneself, flaws and all, is crucial in building a strong identity. 4. Stay connected to your faith. For those who are religious, McKee encourages deepening their relationship with God, as it provides a foundation of unwavering support and love. By cultivating a strong sense of self and a foundation rooted in faith and values, young men can confidently navigate life's challenges without losing sight of who they are. Building on the 4 battles, practical application and growth. Now that we've broken down the 4 major battles from the Guy's Guide to 4 battles every young man must face, it's essential to focus on how young men can implement McKee's strategies in their everyday lives. The book doesn't just offer theoretical advice, it gives actionable steps to navigate these challenges. Let's delve deeper into how young men can use these insights practically and how they can continue to grow beyond these battles. Practical applications for battling screen overload. McKee's advice about screen time resonates strongly in today's tech-driven world. Many young men find themselves glued to their phones, laptops, or gaming systems without realizing how much of their time is consumed by screens. Here's how the lessons from the book can be translated into daily routines and long-term habits. 1. Screen time journaling. One of the first steps to gaining control over screen use is becoming aware of it. Keeping a screen time journal, noting how much time is spent on each activity, whether it's social media, gaming, or Netflix, helps bring awareness to the issue. Young men can use this data to adjust their habits accordingly. 2. Creating a tech-free zone. McKee suggests taking intentional breaks from screens, but young men can take this a step further by creating areas of their life that are tech-free zones. For example, they can designate meal times or family gatherings as moments where no one uses their phone. This encourages more meaningful, face-to-face interactions. 3. Mindful consumption of digital media. Instead of passively consuming content, young men can adopt a more mindful approach to media. They can curate their social media feeds to include educational, motivational, or spiritual content, and make a habit of limiting time on apps that don't add value to their lives. By making small changes, young men can create healthier relationships with their screens, reducing anxiety and regaining control over their time and focus. Overcoming sexual temptation, building accountability and emotional resilience. Sexual temptation is a sensitive and difficult subject to approach, but McKee's open and honest treatment of it provides a framework for how young men can overcome it. Here are a few expanded techniques and tools that can be applied. 1. Accountability partners. McKee emphasizes the importance of talking to trusted individuals about struggles with sexual temptation. Young men can take this further by creating accountability partnerships, whether with a friend, mentor, or religious leader, where they check in regularly and honestly share their progress. These partnerships can serve as a source of support and encouragement, helping them stay on track. 2. Developing emotional intelligence. Often, sexual temptation isn't just about physical desire, it can be linked to emotional voids or feelings of inadequacy. By working on emotional intelligence, young men can better identify the triggers that lead to unhealthy habits. Learning to manage emotions like stress, loneliness, or frustration can reduce the urge to turn to pornography or casual sexual encounters as a form of escape. 3. Spiritual growth and meditation. For those who follow a faith, McKee suggests turning to prayer or scripture for strength. Adding meditation or mindfulness practices can help young men manage urges by creating a sense of calm and introspection. Regular reflection on their spiritual journey can serve as a reminder of their values and their commitment to self-control. By integrating these methods into their daily lives, young men can gradually diminish the hold that sexual temptation has on them, leading to healthier relationships and greater personal fulfillment. Navigating peer pressure and substance abuse, building resilience and confidence. McKee's chapter on peer pressure and substance abuse hits home for many young men, as these are universal struggles. To combat the negative influences of peer pressure, young men need to develop a strong sense of self-worth and confidence. Here's how they can take this advice to the next level. 1. Practice no and low-stakes scenarios. One of McKee's suggestions is having a game plan for saying no to substances, but many young men find it hard to say no in the moment. To prepare for high-pressure situations, they can practice asserting their boundaries in lower-stakes scenarios. For example, they might decline invitations to events they don't want to attend or choose not to participate in conversations that make them uncomfortable. The more they practice, the easier it becomes to stand firm in bigger situations. 2. Building strong friendships. McKee rightly highlights the need for surrounding oneself with like-minded friends. Young men can foster deeper friendships by connecting with people who share similar values, whether through clubs, sports, religious groups, or hobbies. These relationships can provide a positive influence, making it easier to resist unhealthy peer pressure. 3. Establishing personal goals. A powerful way to avoid the temptations of substance abuse is to have personal goals that motivate you to stay on the right path. Whether it's academic, athletic, career, or spiritual goals, having a clear vision of what you want to achieve in life can keep you grounded when temptations arise. When young men know what they're working towards, they're more likely to steer clear of substances that could derail their progress. Developing a strong identity, building confidence and authenticity. Perhaps the most foundational battle McKee addresses is the battle with self-identity. Understanding who you are and feeling comfortable in your own skin is key to thriving in all areas of life. McKee's advice on grounding identity in faith and values provides a springboard for growth, but young men can build on this further by focusing on their personal journey of self-discovery. 1. Journaling for self-discovery. McKee encourages reflection on one's values, and journaling can be a powerful tool for this. By regularly writing about their thoughts, emotions, and experiences, young men can gain a clearer sense of who they are. Journaling can help identify patterns in behavior, recurring fears, and aspirations, giving them the clarity to make better decisions aligned with their true selves. 2. Affirmations and positive self-talk. Building confidence requires a shift in mindset. One of the ways to foster self-worth is through positive affirmations, repeating truths about who you are, what you believe, and what you're capable of. This helps counter the negative messages that often flood young men's minds, whether from external sources or internal doubt. 3. Pursuing meaningful passions. As McKee suggests, self-identity shouldn't be tied to what the world says you should be. One way to avoid that trap is by diving into passions that bring real joy and fulfillment. Whether it's learning an instrument, playing sports, or volunteering, young men can find aspects of their identity that go beyond the surface, helping them embrace their uniqueness. 4. Understanding and embracing vulnerability. McKee doesn't dive deeply into vulnerability, but it's an important aspect of self-identity. Young men often feel pressured to hide their insecurities, weaknesses, or fears. By learning to embrace vulnerability, they can build more authentic connections with others and develop a deeper understanding of themselves. Vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, it's a pathway to growth and authenticity. The role of mentorship and community support. McKee stresses the importance of mentorship throughout the book, and it's one of the key elements for long-term success in facing these battles. Young men who seek out mentorship often find that they can navigate life's challenges with greater confidence and wisdom. 1. Finding the right mentor. A mentor doesn't have to be someone with all the answers, but rather someone with more experience who is willing to guide, listen, and provide perspective. Young men can seek mentors in various areas of life, whether it's a coach, teacher, youth leader, or even a family member. The key is finding someone who shares similar values and can offer support when needed. 2. Being part of a supportive community. Having a mentor is important, but so is being part of a community where young men feel supported. Whether it's a youth group, church community, or team, being part of a positive environment encourages accountability and growth. When young men are surrounded by people who share their struggles and successes, it creates a sense of camaraderie and mutual support that makes battles easier to face. Looking ahead, the lifelong battle for growth. One of the core messages of the Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face is that these battles are ongoing. Young men aren't expected to solve all these challenges overnight. Instead, it's about making progress and growing over time. McKee emphasizes that while these struggles are tough, young men are more than capable of overcoming them with the right tools, mindset, and support. This book isn't a one-time read, it's a resource that young men can return to throughout different stages of their lives. Whether they're facing renewed battles with screens, revisiting their identity, or confronting sexual temptation, the wisdom in McKee's writing is timeless. For young men who take the lessons to heart, McKee's guide can serve as a foundation for lifelong personal and spiritual development. His candid, humorous, and compassionate approach makes the book accessible to all, but it's the depth of his insights that will resonate long after the final page is turned. Final thoughts: a roadmap for navigating life's challenges. The Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face is more than just a self-help book, it's a call to action for young men to take charge of their lives, confront the challenges ahead, and grow into the men they were created to be. Jonathan McKee provides a roadmap that's both practical and inspiring, offering young men the tools to not only survive life's battles but to thrive in the midst of them. By addressing the very real issues of screen time, sexual temptation, peer pressure, and self-identity, McKee paints a comprehensive picture of the modern young man's journey. His advice is steeped in experience, empathy, and a deep understanding of the unique pressures that today's young men face. For those ready to engage with life's challenges head-on, McKee's book is an essential guide to not only winning battles but finding lasting fulfillment, strength, and purpose. Conclusion: Embracing the Journey of Manhood. As we reach the conclusion of The Guy's Guide to 4 Battles Every Young Man Must Face by Jonathan McKee, it's clear that the challenges outlined throughout the book aren't just obstacles to overcome but pivotal opportunities for growth. McKee's candid and practical advice offers young men a roadmap to navigate life's toughest battles with resilience, integrity, and purpose. These 4 key battles, against sexual temptation, screens and technology, selfishness, and substance abuse, are more than just temporary struggles, they are defining moments that shape who you become as a man. McKee doesn't sugarcoat the difficulties that young men face in today's world. From the overwhelming pull of online distractions to the pressures of peer influence, the challenges can seem relentless. But as the author makes clear, these battles aren't fought alone, and you are never without the tools to succeed. Through faith, discipline, community, and self-awareness, McKee provides a clear path forward, grounded in values that matter. One of the most powerful takeaways from the book is the idea that every battle is an opportunity for transformation. You aren't defined by the temptations or mistakes you face, but by how you rise above them. McKee encourages you to be proactive rather than reactive, to anticipate the battles ahead and arm yourself with the wisdom and strength needed to confront them. Whether it's learning to set boundaries with technology or mastering the art of self-control, these are skills that will not only help you win today's battles, but will prepare you for the long journey of manhood. McKee also emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. In a world that often glorifies independence, he reminds you that true strength comes from being part of a supportive community. Whether through family, friends, mentors, or faith-based groups, building a network of people who hold you accountable and encourage you to be your best self is crucial for success in these battles. Ultimately, The Guy's Guide is a call to action. It's not about passively waiting for life to happen to you, but about taking control of your decisions and your future. By addressing these 4 key battles head-on, you're not just protecting yourself from temporary pitfalls, you're actively shaping the man you're becoming. McKee's message is clear: with focus, faith, and commitment, you have the power to overcome life's greatest challenges and emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future. In conclusion, the battles young men face may seem daunting, but they are winnable. Through honest reflection, purposeful action, and reliance on faith, each challenge becomes a stepping stone to true manhood. So, as you move forward, embrace the journey with confidence, knowing that with the right mindset and support, you are equipped to not only face these battles but to conquer them. This is the start of a lifelong adventure, one where your choices today shape the man you'll be tomorrow. Please read the book to learn more and consider subscribing to support the channel. Thank you.